Yeah.
Welcome to Academy of Tone 146. Tonight we have the first time 3 sitting in front of the camera, and the first time ever Justin. Okay, I was so confused because everybody would say Justin because
No, it's Justin. Yes.
Yeah. Justin Hombach, and I would say he is the best shredder in the house. I have to admit it. I mean, why not? Because there's experts for everything, and and of course Fabian Ratsak, who is a pretty known face in Academy of Tone. I think you've been here 3 times already.
Yes, I think it's the 4th time now.
This is the 4th time.
Fourth
Okay,
time.
I think you have won the award.
Yeah.
Of a sparkling water bottle.
Yes.
Okay. When Fabian was here last time, I think we talked very many different styles. I think from Ingwie to John Mayer to
Joe Bonamassa, Jeff Beck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So many players.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you are. I mean, I follow your internet presence on mainly on Facebook.
Yes,
Facebook. And I can see many different styles of music, from very soft, calm music to the shred thing.
Yes.
And in
music
between,
is everywhere.
And
so many different styles.
Is there anything new in your life? I mean, since we met last time, we didn't have time.
Yeah, sure. Many things. There's a new band I'm starting, a German pop rock band.
What's the name?
IHR, like IHR. Yes, and we're gonna
I
produce.
human resource.
Yes. yes.
But ear means you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna bring out an album very soon, but at first a single, but I think at the end of March.
Okay, and this is all German lyrics.
Yes, German lyrics, and I think it's pop rock, I would say.
Yeah. And it's what kind of lineup? Is it guitar, of course?
Yeah,
and
it's
singer?
guitar, 2 guitars actually.
Yeah.
Vocals. We all sing a little bit.
Okay,
So
nice.
We work on this
Of
because
course,
I think it's important to sing.
Oh yeah.
That all guys in the band sing, and then we have bass, guitar, and front vocals. Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay, and besides that, I know that you are from Düsseldorf.
Yes.
These days we have the German Carnival.
Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Yeah.
Stop it. I'm coming from Mainz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the difference is this is no. Well,
That's Cologne and
Cologne.
Kölner Alarv. That's the other guys.
And Düsseldorf Hello is the other.
Hello.
Yes,
Okay. By the way, what is the difference? Is this one? Is the Catholic and Protestant? Why they have the different?
It's both annoying.
That's the thing. It's both annoying and good.
For me, same here. When I was a kid, I tried it once being a cowboy, and it was so totally not my thing. So I always escaped that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's good for other people so they can step into a role that they usually don't play, and
drink a lot of beer.
Drink a lot of beer. And that's always a good excuse. So there's nothing wrong about that.
Yes.
But okay, so we all 3 are not free from the carnival season.
No.
Okay. Okay, Mainz. You've always been.
I'm always from around Mainz,
Mainz.
Frankfurt, Wiesbaden, those 3 kind of
So
cities.
in German, the Rhine Mine.
The Rhine Mine area.
Right. Yeah, and which is, I think, a very interesting area because of the history. Well, for the international guys, of course, the Rhine.
Mm-hmm.
When I had international guests like from Asia, like my Korean speaker manufacturer, I do the full tourist thing.
Oh, okay.
So there's the ferry that goes kind of from Mainz. Is it down the Rhine? With all the castles left, right, and the wine yards, and so and they go, oh. Yeah. So and it's actually pretty beautiful, but I think when you live there, how much is it? do you use this kind of tourist aspect?
Oh, no, I think I'm not really. I mean, doing it like everybody's doing the tourist kind of stuff in the city that I'm living in. It's not that much, but it's a really well-connected area that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And there used to be the big music messe from Germany and Frankfurt.
Yes. But they died.
They died really hard. But Mannheim is not so far away, where we have now the Guitar Summit, which is also really awesome. And it's quite expensive to live there, sadly, because of the 3 big cities and the airport, the big one, and that's a little bit annoying. But other than that, it's some nice place. Yeah,
I think the area is nice because you have the big cities, but you also have like the countryside.
Yes.
When what is it, Taunus?
Taunus, yes.
Up the hills.
Yes.
I sometimes play in these little villages up there. Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein. Yeah.
Which is, it's great because people, they're great people somehow.
Yeah.
And I didn't play there for 10 years, and now I play there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Why, I don't know. Mm-hmm. But it's it kind of opened up for me, and so I drive there quite a lot, or at least 4 times a year.
Nice.
Each Stein.
Yeah, each Stein.
All this kind of. And
there's
so
another big German guitar YouTuber who lives really near and really close to that, and that's Henning Pauli. HP24.
What's the city? Weilburg?
Yeah, that's a little bit more north from Idstein, but it's not really far away from where I live. Yeah.
Are you connected with Henning?
Yeah.
So if you guys know HP42,
Yes.
HP42,
and his 42 Gear Street.
Yeah,
I've been there, and
I mean crazy stuff.
Yeah, Henning is a crazy guy. He has 2 faces. I mean, he's kind of the little bit of a clown, but on the other hand, if you know what's going on behind the scenes, he's actually a very deep worker.
Yes.
I mean, he takes his things serious. So I have respect for what he's doing.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
absolutely.
Isn't he right now on a remote island with all of the gear stuff kind of thing? Really crazy thing.
I already heard some rumors, and they had bad internet. Therefore, we don't see much yet.
Yeah.
So they have been shooting a lot, and the rest will be seen pretty soon on all the different YouTube channels. And there's the Guitar Geek was with them.
Yeah, Andy.
Andy,
yes. And practice makes perfecto. What's his name again? The Brazilian.
Perfecto.
Something like
the
that.
Castro.
Yeah.
I made this. I met this guy in LA last year when I was at the NAMM in summer, which was also weird because usually NAMM is in winter time. And this year it will be in April. And in 24 it will come back to January.
Yeah.
Because guess the NAMM organization fucked it up. They didn't book the venue of COVID, and then somebody else sneaked in. How stupid can that be? Okay, anyway, this was my rant on NAMM.
I actually planned to go there this year, but a lot of people warned me and said, okay, if you want to go to NAMM, then wait just for 1 year and go in 2024. It will be much better, probably,
Yeah, that's true. Hey guys, just because I know it, because I took a picture. For those who don't know where we are, we will be at NAMM 23 in what is it, April? What are the dates? I think the booth number is 7415 Hall C for the guys who want to know where we are. Here's the camera. 7415 Hall C. Okay? And we have a booth that we share with Vintage Guitars, which is these guys here, my friends from the UK. And their American, I think, their American distributor, which is RBI Music. It's kind of right next to the door, and on our booth there's BluGuitar, Fred King, the vintage guitar. So anyway, we will be at this NAMM, we've been at the last NAMM, we've been at any NAMM, at any show basically. I think there is not a single music message that I missed maybe before since I was 20 something. So
nice.
I have seen many of these shows. Not all, but many of them. Sometimes I think enough. Yeah. So, what the theme of tonight is kind of interesting because, first of all, we are different genres in a way. Then we are different age. Then we have different backgrounds and concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see my notes here. I thought, well, the first thing that brought us together, there was actually Let's Talk Guitar,
Yes.
which is
Our
a
Podcast from both of us.
that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
the German podcast. Yeah.
German, yeah. And I've been
One time.
a
Yeah.
year ago or something.
something like
yes,
that.
yes.
So
It's
this
one
was-
of the most listened episodes, by
Yeah.
the way.
really.
I think
is.
it's in the top 5 of
Yeah.
the most.
I hope I didn't talk
episode.
shit because
No.
I'm not prepared. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I just have my little notes here, so I know a little bit. But anyway, so the podcast. How many episodes did you do by now?
Wow.
We are close to 90.
Yeah.
It's episode 89 right now.
And
I
when
think.
did you start?
We started in summer 22. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
During the
Yeah.
during the COVID time,
Then,
Yeah.
he called me that he wanted to do a podcast, and he's been through all guitar players in Germany.
No,
It was the last
he was
one
the
on the
first
list.
guy.
No, it's Justin guy. Okay.
Oh, come on. Okay.
Now, I always wanted to do something like this as well, and because I listen to a lot of podcasts as well, and yeah, and then we started in summer 22, and it was a lot of fun since then.
I think creating such a format is a two-way street. It's first one thing for you guys
Yes.
doing it,
Yeah.
and then for the guests. And
Yeah.
I think it's so important that you start something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's too many people sitting at home and are too passive in a way.
Yeah.
And I always encourage people to do something. I mean, start a band
Yeah.
or blah blah blah. Create this. Go out and do something.
Do
Yeah.
content, yeah.
Because it's for me it's a positive energy
Yeah.
in every direction.
Yeah.
And so I'm always happy to see, you know, active people like you guys.
So much fun.
And the format podcast is kind of really interesting
Yeah.
because it's so different to everything else that you have nowadays. Nowadays you have these short videos on Instagram and the TikTok reels and the YouTube kind of stuff, which I also do a lot. But the podcast thing is you sit down with some really nice guests, really cool guys, and you're just talking for 1 hour, no video, no kind of big editing thing behind this, just talking. And people
Real
are listening.
talking,
Yeah,
yes.
and people are really listening to it. They are listening to it on the way to work or while they're cleaning up their houses or whatnot. And this is so much more relaxing and chill
Yeah.
than doing YouTube videos, which can be a lot of stress and can sometimes cost me like 6 hours to edit and finally finish a YouTube video. And this is really easy going for the guests, for us,
Yeah.
and this is just a great way to create content. Yeah.
Also so nice because of the communication.
Yeah.
It's not like fast, like you scroll down the Instagram feed.
Yeah.
It's just focused, and you can listen. You can do something in the meantime and listen to it. It's enjoying.
So I had to find a description for you, and I asked Fabian a little bit. What is he doing? You know? So,
Who is
and then
that?
I think it's always very hard to find a label or anything. So a few notes at it. So Petrucci of Dream Theater is somebody you listened to?
A little. No,
Quite a bit.
I think I have to assume that he's kind of my biggest influence. I nearly met him last Wednesday. It suddenly didn't happen. I met Jordan Root as the keyboard player from Dream Theater on the other hand because I gave him a guitar lesson last year, which was kind of a really crazy thing. But he is kind of, for me, the all-time favorite, biggest influence. And the reason why I started doing this kind of thing here, really professional and really serious. Yeah.
Is this connected with anything from your parents, or how did you discover from Petrucci?
I would say, especially the band Dream Theater was something that showed me that, I was listening to metal music before that, like Metallica, and even some more nerdier kind of guitar stuff like Satriani and Vai.
So what was like your first album like after the kids stuff.
Yeah, the first real metal record that I ever owned was from Iron Maiden. It was Dance of the Dead, which was released in 2003. I was 13 back in the day. I am from 1990. I was born in 1990. And and then I got more and more into Metallica and Megadeth, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. Yeah. And then I discovered Dream Theater, and Dream Theater showed me, okay, you can create beautiful music with a complex structure behind it, you can have a lot of fun with being better in your instrument, having challenges, technical kind of challenges from what you're playing here, but also musical challenges and all this kind of stuff. And this was really fascinating for the 15-year-old Justin, the 14-year-old Justin, and it kind of was my form of escaping the real world, escaping schools and girls and all that stuff that annoys you in that kind of age. And then I discovered something so beautiful, and it was like, okay, I never want to do anything else, just this.
Okay, I totally get it, because at that age, it's so fresh and so intense, and it's kind of so important.
Yeah.
Suddenly, something like this is so big and so important, and so I think that, like, the first impressions of the most important albums, of the most the music that kind of is the foundation for you.
It always comes back. Yeah. I mean, during my career, I also studied music then in Frankfurt. I studied 4.5 years of jazz guitar, and at that time I was a hardcore bebop player, only having fat guitars, only
totally different world.
Transcribing Pat Martino and all these kind of players. And then after I finished my time at the university, I re-listened to one of the first Dream Theater records, Images and Words, and I suddenly felt like I was 16 again. And then for me, I realized, I don't know, as much as I love jazz music and bebop and all this kind of stuff, and as much that I learned about music itself through this kind of 4.5 years, I want to do this as a career. And then I decided for myself, okay, I want to do more of the shredding stuff, more the metal stuff again. And since then I haven't stopped so far.
Okay, talking about your music, first you have an Ibanez guitar, which means you play Ibanez, and you even are an Ibanez enthusiast.
I'm an official Ibanez artist since end of 2019, yes.
And how many Ibanez guitars you own? Too many?
Yeah, nearly 20.
Ooh, because you get special prizes and you love them all. Okay.
Yes.
Is there a particular, what Ibanezes are your favorite ones? Like, what is it, a pickup style or...
That's really, really kind of hard to say. I mean, when it comes to the pickups, I'm a fan of the traditional Dimasio pickups, especially, of course, the one that Petrucci used to play. I mean, in this guitar now, I have Seymour Duncan's inside of it, which I didn't like in the beginning, but then in the context of a band, playing together with another guitar player and with a rhythm section, I realized, okay, those Seymour Duncans, they are really... they're getting really good through the band. The sound's really good.
You think the Dimasios are too thick?
They are a little bit too warm for this kind of band situation that I'm currently in with one band. And therefore I really like those Seymour Duncan's pickups. But when it comes to the guitar, of course, from the shredding kind of side and from the side that I don't want to have any kind of obstacles in my way when I want to play fast, I love the RGs with the short neck and the really light body, and I even have some headless guitars which I really like, and I'm kind of a little bit more the modern type.
Okay,
yes,
fair enough. I mean, this is why we're sitting here. We are different, and we like. And talking about your bands, you have a band you play in Mega Live, which is a Megadeth tribute band.
Yes.
So Megadeth, of course, is not easy to play. That's the thing where I stepped out. I highly respect all the technology behind that kind of music and the shred aspect and the rhythmic aspect. I'm probably the least metal guy on this side of the blues. But the thing is, I totally have to admit that this kind of craftsmanship and progressive I would also call this progressive in a way.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Totally
Is fascinating. Marty Friedman, I guess here
Yes.
I see the comments.
Yeah.
Marty is Marty Friedman.
Yes.
Megadeth also jazz.
Well, in a way sometimes.
Sometimes.
I mean, the biggest challenge for me, I'm the lead guitar player there, is to get the style of all the different lead guitar players into my playing.
Okay.
They had several ones.
Yeah. So let the other guys know who played in Megadeth. Maybe you know it best.
Yeah,
I just know
I'm
Marty
sure
Friedman.
he knows it best.
I mean, I would say most famously is Marty Friedman.
Yeah.
He played the most legendary solos from that kind of era. Then the current guitar player Kiko Loureiro, who's also a big kind of fusion jazz guy and who's really bringing a lot of jazz chromatic bebop lines into the soloing of Megadeth nowadays. Chris Poland is an absolute phenomenal guitar player who has a really, really individual kind of style. He was not really on the radar so much like Marty Friedman. He was not so famous like Marty Friedman, but he's kind of an underdog, and he has a really interesting Holdsworth-esque kind of style.
Like
That's
legato
like all the legato stuff and all the weird fingerings and the half tone, whole tone kind of stuff inside of the metal things. And this, I love him as a musician. I don't love him as somebody who's trying to play the kind of stuff, because it's so hard to figuring out what the fuck he's actually doing
So he
here.
raises the bar so high that you kind of suffer and wish you would be a blues guy like myself.
That's interesting. That's really interesting to how I learn these kind of different styles and how hard it is to learn from Marty Friedman or Chris Poland, who has such an individual style. But then there are other guitar players in Megadeth, like for example one is called Chris Broderick, and a lot of people are saying that he is the technical most hardest guitar player in Megadeth. But I think he's actually, to learn, he's actually really easy, because it's so organized, it's so structured, his playing, and we are coming from the same kind of book. He is playing Paul Gilbert licks inside of Megadeth that I used to play since 20 years now. So this is maybe technically more advanced and faster than the other stuff, but for me it's easier to get than the weird stuff.
You understand the vocabulary.
Yes.
So you grew up with that vocabulary, so it feels more natural to play that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's always the key for a lot of things. Once you understand the roots, then it clicks.
Yes.
And I think guitar playing in general is, of course, you move the fingers, but the better you understand it, the more natural it feels, the easier it gets. And because you are closer to the result. If it's new to you, anything is hard. I mean, play something you've never done before. It can be a cheesy piece of music, but you think like, is this right? Is this right? Or, and otherwise it's like, okay, I know this kind of, it's just elements that you already know.
A little bit like language, I would say.
It's like language, and these are different dialects that we have inside of this band. And for me, it's like trying to learn the Bavarian dialect or the East Germany dialect all in once.
Okay, so this is the Megadeth side. Mega Life is the name of the band. And then you have Eternity's End, which is your own songs, or what is it?
It's kinda. The band was actually founded by a really awesome guitar player called Christian Münzner, who also was a guest on our podcast, and I know him for quite a while. He's as well more coming from the neoclassical metal kind of side. He's a neoclassical artist, he's a solo artist, and he's playing with a bigger metal band called Obscura. But he also has his baby Eternity's End, and there we are trying to do like Racer X just in modern. So two guitar players who are playing way too many notes. It's way too hard, but it's so much fun. I'm in that band since 2021, and I was a part of the third record where I didn't wrote anything on the third record. I just played my solo sections, my solo part. But now we are currently in the writing session for the next record, and there I'm also contributed into the writing session. Yeah, and this is kind of more power metal, old school 80s Racer X kind of metal with a new modern sound and even more shredding. Yay!
Okay, quick question here. David Matthias asking, is this an Ibanez AZ?
Yeah, this is an Ibanez AZ. One of the
AZ.
AZ or AZ or AZ.
Ibanez.
One of the first they released in 2018, I think.
Yeah,
2017, 2018, something
yes.
like this. And it was actually my first Ibanez that I got not from Ibanez that I got to myself. I played it a lot and then got another one, and then Ibanez got, this guy's playing Ibanez, and then...
You connected
Yeah.
and you became an artist or
Yeah.
an NDC for them.
Mhm.
Okie doke. And so, being all in this metal world, how do you end up studying jazz? Jazz. I mean, jazz. You know?
Opposite.
Well,
Jazz.
Jazz.
At first, I really didn't like that too much,
Yeah.
but kind of my parents' side said, okay, if you want to do something with music,
Serious?
professional, serious,
You have to
then you
learn.
have
Yeah.
to study it. And my dad used to be a big jazz fan. He was one of the first people who saw Pat Metheny here in Germany. He was a huge Pat Metheny fan. And so through him, I started checking out jazz, having some jazz lessons with a jazz guitar player from LA called David Becker, and and
Very English name Becker,
Yeah.
right?
And he has
First
some
I thought David Beckham.
he has some German heritage, but he's really awesome. He studied together with Pat Metheny, and he's an awesome jazz guitar player. And the more I learned about it, and the more I understood it, the more I started to love it. And the first time I was listening to John Coltrane's record Giant Steps, that was the moment where it made clicked. Where I realized because the problem with jazz I had for a long time when I was in my early 20s is that I was missing the energy that you have in metal music. This pure raw form of energy.
Yeah.
And then I realized I can have this kind of energy through listening to Giant Steps from John Coltrane.
Can you play that shit?
Challenge.
Let me get the clean sound. What is it? The chords. What? No, something like this. You have to fake it. You only have to know you have to know the three keys, and then you know, okay. G. You only have to do some grammatical kind of stuff, and everybody's thinking like, "Oh, how sophisticated! Jazz, yeah."
So, because I have no clue about jazz, my history about jazz was when I was a teenager, I tried to get a lesson to learn it properly, and after I think 3 lessons, which I've been taught the modes and what's the
Autumn Leaves.
Autumn Leaves, you know, one of those classics. So, I ended the session because we had an argument, and anyway, it was a very good experience because that shaped my style a lot. Not because I followed the jazz route, because I didn't follow the jazz route, but still loved some of the music.
Yeah.
And what I try to say here is anything that you confront yourself with will get you somewhere better.
Yes, absolutely.
Again, it's
Just
just
takes
like
time.
And
Just
so,
takes time.
so even if you react and say, "Oh, I don't like that," it's like food. I mean, you have to try, you have to taste, and then you pick up bits and pieces to say, you know what? I like this chord, but I hate this one. And otherwise, if you don't have the confrontation, you never get to experience.
You never progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this was my little insight of jazz. But what I learned is one thing I that I kind of picked up from the guys, like if you have like a major or you have a scale or anything that is logic in itself, you can. You play something. What I learned is like play something that makes sense, and then shift it around.
Yes.
And see what happens.
Yeah.
And somewhere where it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
important stuff
The
to
timing
end on the right and the correct note. What happens before that is just there to build up tension. What there's actually happening there is maybe not so important, but it's important to have the tension and to release the tension into the right note.
Like all these chords.
You know what, guys? Let's fake jazz. Let's see what happens.
So long since I actually played jazz. The tone knob down and then just chromatical.
But what I also learned is like you have you can kind of embed a note from above.
Chromatical.
Is there like 3 of the easy access to jazz or fake jazz hints from your side?
Yeah, well, first of all, would give the tip to listen to the music. It's again just a language, you know, and you have to listen to it. You don't. This was a problem that I did. I tried to force myself into this music because I was thinking, okay, when you know jazz, then you know everything, and that's not the truth, you know. But then I realized
have a real jazz guy play metal.
Yeah,
no way. You can't.
And the other way around, even you know, like expressive string bending, you know, the old school jazz guys, you know, it is
it's another world.
It's another world.
It's another world.
So and you know, like in the old days, there's you know, the jazz guys, they know everything. They know a lot of theory, a lot more about that than a lot of other styles.
Yeah.
But if you try to have somebody that plays whatever roots blues or something, hey, a guy that comes from the jazz side not naturally knows what that is.
No.
He can tell you it's just whatever, a G7 chord.
Yeah.
But
You can tell you all the alterations and stuff like this,
but it doesn't have the feel, it doesn't have the tone, it doesn't have the language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would also say, when we are getting a little bit deeper into the material, is go away from the scales, which I would also recommend to a blues player or a metal player. See things as interval and as chords, and try to outline chords with intervals. These are the Lego bricks from music, and we need those to create something new out of it. Just learning scales, especially in jazz, sometimes doesn't make that much sense. But going back to giant steps, for example, in giant steps you have a quarter note of a second time to go from one scale to the next scale. No, you can't think in scales. You know, you have to think in chords and in intervals and in dominants, resolving to tonics and all this kind of stuff. And then the last tip that I would give is start with the blues. Blues is the basic of the language, and this was another mistake that I did. I always, for a long time, I rejected the blues. For me, it was like, this old music, boomer kind of music. But
Boomer.
But then I saw
my dad over 80 loved the blues.
But then I saw. When I was in university, I saw some players who were coming from the blues kind of side, who had such an incredible time feeling, incredible swing, incredible tone, incredible phrasing, and all of that comes from the foundation of blues. And I know a really, really big historical moment for me was when I was in the Crossroads guitar contest in 2011. There was a contest
in Hamburg.
Yeah, in Hamburg. Yeah,
I've been there.
You was a year before I was there.
Do you know everything? He does know the
news.
And where I've been in 20.
Yes.
What was the year?
I was 2012. You were 2011 or 2011, 2010, something like this.
Okay.
And there with Markus
Demel.
Demel, right? Yeah. Yes. And there's some, I don't know who it was. I was with a lot of great guitar players. For example, Michi Wagner was with me in that year. And I don't know who said it to me, but somebody said to me, man, your chops are really, really great. You can shred as hell, but every time when you bend a note or when you play a melody, it sounds like shit. And then
that's rude.
And then I really sat down for half a year or maybe a year, and I was just listening to B.B. King. I was just listening to Albert King, to all those kind of guys. Stevie Ray Vaughan was really important for me. I was transcribing those kind of music and really understanding how you could work on your vibrato and how you can work on your bending technique and all this kind of stuff. And this was, for me, I would say one of the most important lessons that I ever had. To finally sit down and respecting and start to love the blues music.
Yeah, I think the key word is respect, but sometimes it's also good to have a hard introduction for respect.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
it is okay. I mean, if some people are sometimes not interested or so arrogant, and to me, I finally found out there is no music, not a single style of music that wouldn't produce good music, even in techno, because it's made by humans.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you find somebody with a mindset or with a feel, even in this genre, where I said, hey guys, that's cool. Even if it's totally minimalistic and has no guitar at all. There's some things, if you're open enough, in every genre you will find something. If some people, I hate classical music, sorry guys, there's some shit that drives you to tears.
And every genre is different because you can't say, oh, blues music is easy. It's not.
No.
Because the technique is different. But it's very, very different. So you can't compare. You can't say, oh, you can shred, you can play everything, or you can play with feel or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything has its own
quality.
Quality.
And the quality is sometimes not about how many notes. It is subtle and it's somewhere. And if you don't see it right away, you might discover it later. And if not, you don't see it. Well, it's okay. I mean, but all we can say is we all discovered things that we didn't thought at the beginning were exciting. And so for me, I was always the kind of metal, I'm not sure, because it's not my kind of energy. I like that. I like some energy, but then the more I get to look behind the scenes and when I was with using Kettner back in the day, there were a bunch of Jeff Waters.
From Annihilator.
He's my age, So and of course we hang out because everything is cool and very nice guy. Annihilator. What word is this? And I make Beauty of Simplicity was my first record. Okay, Annihilator, Beauty of Simplicity. And it's like. And he listens to me and said, man, you say everything with one note, and then he goes like, but I have to admit, if this machine is going, it's like, wow, it's like a motor race for me.
It's a great energy.
I can watch it, and then through the guy, I said, maybe I should listen to it because we just had a connection as a person, and then you get into okay, it's totally not my thing, but I know why they're having fun. And then you start No?
And every kind of genre has a different kind of emotion to it.
Exactly.
And I think this is really important to know what kind of emotion you like and to respect other emotions. I mean, one sentence I often have to hear as a shred guy is you don't play with feeling, which is total bullshit because the feeling that I try to transport in the thing that I'm doing or that I love in the music that I'm listening is a different kind of feeling than maybe the other person like, you know?
Of course.
And maybe without being rude, but maybe they don't get the feeling, which is totally okay, which is totally fine to not get a certain kind of emotion and feeling, but then you have to realize, okay, it's not my kind of emotion, I have to respect it, but other people's you can touch somebody with a lot of notes. Burst into tears when Petrucci is playing a lot of notes, and I'm there like, that's the most beautiful thing ever, you know. And that's for me, so you know, and that has nothing to do with unemotional music. It has something to do with a different kind of emotion.
Exactly.
Also in life, there are so many emotions. It's not only just
sad or happy.
And it's been there for hundreds of years. Paganini and all the shredders on the violin.
I mean, when it's on the violin, some people say, "Oh, that's so great," but on the guitar, no, it's too much. That's a tradition, I think.
Yeah, but this is all kind of we try to put stuff away in a way.
Yeah,
but of course we are surrounded by so many options, and we also have to choose what we like and what we don't like. But sometimes that's probably what we can say is you can discover something new by opening up a bit more, and then you step into a new room. And it's like some players stay in their zone, which is fine enough, but before you get bored, buy a Megadeth record.
Or a BB King record.
Or an indie record.
So
or a Thomas Blug record.
Okay. Now, if you are an expert on, let's say, progressive and more complex styles, how do you see how many years did you study jazz?
4.5.
4.5.
Yes.
And this was Frankfurt?
This was in Frankfurt, the so-called Frankfurt Musikwerkstatt.
Frankfurt Musikwerkstatt. Okay, and what did the studies told you? Did they show you how to learn? Or what did you take from studying? Because I'm self-taught, I have no clue. I come up with my own ways of explaining and theory and stuff. But what did you learn from learning there?
The most important thing that I learned here, that you probably learned through band activities or whatnot, is that you're not always the center of attention as a guitar player. You have to know your rule, know your position as a guitar player in a band. And when you are playing in a big band with a horn section,
it's important.
Or even a smaller kind of combo like with a piano player. And when you have a piano player, you can't do something like that. And the piano player gives you a lot of bad looks, you know, what are you doing? That you
leave room.
That you have to leave room. I mean, we talked about this in the last episode from our podcast where we're talking about jam situations, and that you have to leave room for the solo artist, for the other players, and that you have to know your position as a guitar player. Before I've studied, I was always a star. I was always in bands where the guitar solo was the center of attention, and I was the king.
Highlights.
Yes, and then you're in a big band with 9 horn players and one piano player and whatnot. And then what are you doing then as a guitar player? You know, you have to do a lot less. And this is something where I really learned to know my position and, of course, all the other kind of stuff. I learned all the melodic minor kind of modes. Really important.
Okay, you know what? I have an atmospheric groove backing track from
C minor.
C minor.
Ooh, C minor.
And we can try to see what we
Saddest
get
of all.
out of it.
That's again the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Nice
A lot of
one.
fun.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
Okay,
a nice one.
totally improvised. We have no clue, but
Yeah.
this is how it goes, and it's communication.
Yeah.
You know.
And this actually is something that I also learned, not only in the university. You can learn that as well outside of the university. But one of the most important lessons that I also got is to know how to listen to other players, how to speak with other players by getting motifs, how to know how to develop a motif, how to react to it. And it don't come from just playing around. Sometimes you have to know your scales and your theory behind it, so you can see, he's playing this kind of melody, so I can harmonize it like this and so on. But in the moment, in the important moment of jamming together, you have to turn off your head and only to listen, open up your ears. And there were wrong notes in what I play.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
matter.
Doesn't matter. This is really interesting. I mean, I'm not jamming that much anymore because most of the music that I do is basically written down, but I love these kind of situations, and for me it's always such a good opportunity to learn more. I mean, playing with Fabian together was such a tasteful player, playing with you together was such an experienced player, I will go home tonight or tomorrow and I will have a lot of things to practice,
We all learn from each other. That's a great thing.
But when you practice, what do you practice? I mean, the studied guy, okay.
Yeah.
Because when I practice, I simply play, and I learn songs. I mean, these days I have nearly no time, so I have to be very economic with what I'm doing, and so basically what I'm doing is I challenge myself because of the projects I'm doing and of the stuff that I need to learn. So that's about it. When I think about really practicing, I have to. I'm more playing with the groove to stay fit. That's basically what I can do in the situation where I'm in right now.
Okay.
But you are younger and you are more close to the phase where you practice. What are you practicing?
Well, I love practicing. I really love practicing.
Torture.
It is the feeling of progress and getting better.
Yeah.
It is for me the best feeling ever. And for me, my practice time, I practice 4 hours nearly every day. I try to practice 4 hours nearly every day. And I do it, I have kind of a weird sleeping kind of thing since 6 years going on. I wake up at 3:30 in the morning, a.m. And I start practicing from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. And those 4 hours are the most important hours in my day.
I know why. Because there is nothing else going on. You're totally focused.
I'm totally focused. Nobody can distract me. No phone is ringing. No Fabian is calling me. No Thomas is calling me. I can be really focused, and I'm awake. I was just after sleeping, and my brain is really fit at that time. What do I practice? Okay, I mean, I practice also songs a lot for the bands, preparing for shows, or maybe when I have a gig coming up with a different band, or the YouTube stuff. I have to practice a lot for my YouTube stuff, either when I do covers or when I want to do a lesson. I also have to practice the licks and all the tunes that I'm showing in my YouTube stuff. But the first 2 hours, I'm actually really focusing only on technique, and really the most not fun thing that you can do. I mean, the first half hour for me for the last 6 months, because I was working on my picking technique a lot, was just like music, and only doing the right hand.
Okay, what are you doing?
For example, that was just an example, like for my working on my pick slanting technique to go through the strings, or I use have a certain lick, a certain picking lick, and that I don't play the left hand, I only practice the right hand, practice certain situations that you need in the shred kind of thing. I want to have focus. I want to have control over what I'm doing, and I'm a little bit kind of a control Nazi there, I want to have the most amount of control in my playing what I'm doing. And I'm currently happy that, first of all, nobody can listen what I'm doing, because the living situation that I have is that I nearly don't have any neighbors around me, so I can be as loud as I want in the evening, which is really awesome. And I don't have anybody living with me together, only my cats, because I would assume that everybody who lives with me would go really, really nuts when at 4 a.m. morning only this to you, you know. That kind of would be annoying, but for me, this is kind of really important. And I'm practicing a lot of really getting into detail, getting into every movement, every motion, and really practicing those little kind of annoying things. But I love that.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
my kind of thing.
I totally get it. I mean, there's people...
It's a passion.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
passion.
yeah.
My girlfriend is an early bird too, and she disappears for the gym at a time where I don't do anything. And I love it. But the point that I get is there are certain times a day that are better for certain things to do. So when I learn something, I need to have my focus. And during the day, forget it.
Yeah.
My phone is ringing.
Yeah.
There's too many distractions. Nothing really works. So the easiest way for me to learn songs, because I don't have much time, is I learn them before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Sleep, my brain kind of works while I'm sleeping, and then I repeat in the early morning before anything
That's
comes.
good. That's good.
And then I call it a day, and I hope that this is on this low level that when I need a song in the night, when you are on stage, there is something there. Sometimes I make a quick listen in the car driving there, also, and that's about it. And I have a feeling if I'm prepared enough to do it, okay, next one, or it's like, okay, this one I have to fake, and I have not enough time to prepare it properly, or this one I listen to now and really focus on. Okay, for me, picking technique, you have released like a course,
an online masterclass.
Online masterclass, the Zen of picking.
Then of speed picking. Speed picking.
Speed
is important.
Okay, you get fined too fast. In Germany we have a lot of speed cameras.
Yes.
But okay, on the guitar is a different thing. What's the basic concept of that? Or can you give us some example?
Of course.
What you can learn from this?
The basic concept from the Den of speed picking is it's about speed picking in the shredding kind of 3-note per string kind of way. So it's not that much focused on the kind of what's it called again? What Marty is doing all the time. Cross picking kind of stuff like outlining patches. But
can you play a line with cross picking?
Cross picking, for example, is this typical Morse is doing a lot there, and the kind of style that I'm doing. I have some chapters about this in the Zen of speed picking, but most of it, it's now over 50 exercises. String shredding. Yeah. And there especially the technique which is called pick slanting. It's how you angle your pick. There was a YouTuber once called Troy Grady with Cracking the Code, and he was kind of the first one who gave this kind of technique a name. And when I realized and learned this technique, I clearly can remember it in my head. It was a summer night in 2016, and I was struggling with a speed picking lick.
Yeah.
And then I've checked out this pick slanting lick, and I realized that you can also hold your pick in a different kind of angle. It was like, all the angels are shining to me and everything. And then I start to study this technique extreme a lot. And it helped me so much to develop more control and more speed over my picking technique. And then I made this course, and there I showed exercises for both kind of slants and how you can combine them and all this kind of stuff. So pick slanting, that's the main
Can you give us one simple example? You don't have to tell us the whole course, of course not. But just as an example, guys, because I'm, mainly self-taught. Maybe you are the teacher and I do my thing. So, of course. That sucks. What I learned back in the days is like alternate picking. Seems to be the way to go.
Yes.
And I always like players that did pick versus the guys that did legato. Why? Because with my vintage gear, you have to put a lot of energy into the amp to get the tone. Okay, so that's kind of my style. So I'm on the vintage channel, I switch off the boost. So that's totally economic, but it's maxing out the energy I get on the string because so volume on full, so blues kind of roots where I'm coming from. And if I had another pick, can I have your pick? Just for instance, it's okay.
That's very...
a lot of control. This works because it's so stiff that I can do my thing.
Yeah.
But if I had a wobbly thin pick, anyone? No, we are all real men. No wobbly thin picks here. Here's another nice pick, which is the Blackmore pick. And there's something. This is an easy pick because with regular picks, sometimes I had a problem that I got stuck in the strings.
Yeah.
And Richie, being my hero, used that shape, and then my a little bit of cheating all the time. That's basically what I'm doing. Now you can correct me. Tell me what's total bullshit and why. So when there is no wrong and no right, there's just different things.
Yes.
But how would you? That we have to make a lick up that I'm probably cheating.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And you know, something that. That's, for instance, a lick that is not clear what I'm doing. Okay, then I have to go to the next string. Let me think what I'm doing here. Then I get my used pick. I love used picks where the edges are round and the picks are very thick.
Okay.
The other one is too new. What am I doing?
Okay.
Could you play it in? That sounds correct.
First of all, what you're doing is you have a lot of force in your hand that you actually that comes from playing all the blues licks where you needed it with all the vintage amps and all this kind of stuff. But for this kind of picking, for the shred kind of
energy
it's more important because you want to be flexible with your hand. And what you're doing, what I was seeing when you're playing it fast, you want not let me mute my left hand.
Yeah.
You are not playing like down, down, up. You are playing down, down, down. You do this with a lot of force, and through this big movement and this force you have,
I lose speed.
You lose speed. You lose control. You accidentally hit another string. You have open strings. It's not really muted. Everything. So I would, if you would be my student now,
give it to me, baby.
I would recommend to work on having a control over the less energy. You know, like the less movement in your playing. But how can you achieve that? How can you achieve these kind of things? And there are certain kind of methods. I mean, we all know the old school method: start slow, getting faster,
of course.
Which is totally fine. It's totally awesome to get a certain lick under your fingers if it's new and whatnot. But if you know a lick for your left hand really fast and for your right hand already fast, and you want to change something in your system, you have to do a different kind of method. You have to play in the tempo, and then you have to focus on. Oh, let me say it this way. First of all, you have to analyze yourself, what you are doing. Either through a teacher who's saying to you, you're not picking that note.
Yeah, here's it.
And or nowadays we have so many helpful tools that help you to analyze myself. For example, I often film myself with my iPhone. There's a slow motion function,
and then
or,
you see it.
and then I see it, or I put the video inside of a program like Adobe, and then I go through it frame by frame and really looking what am I doing here. And or you can record yourself. Everybody can record yourself nowadays. So, and then I would say, as soon as I found out, okay, which kind of movement, which kind of motion is kind of bothering you, then focus on that movement. Focus like only this note here. You have to play with an upstroke, not play the lick over and over again. Just these small chunks. Try to do it. Try to play only those 4 notes that you are doing. Do it faster?
Okay. Faster?
Yeah, do it faster. You can do it faster. And then now we're doing it really fast, but then you should more and more add the next notes from that lick and make that lick a little bit more longer, so you get more and more used to this kind of movement. And now, okay, you for this lick, for example, you are using like 80% of all guitar players the pick slanting, which is called downward pick slanting. That means that we have. Can we have a like a camera which shows my hand a little bit?
Here, maybe.
So I can
can
explain it like 100 times. That means that you have an angle in your picking, and that the slant, the backside is slanted like this. This one is called downward pick slanting. That the backside of your pick is showing down. This is really natural for 80 guitar players, I would say. 80% of all guitar players.
Most of them.
For most people. But for that one note on the G string, when you still have this kind of position in your pick, you get stuck between the G and the D string. So, sorry, I was a little bit mistaken. When you want to go from here to here, you have a lot of movement going on between those strings. But now when I shift this kind of slant here in the upper direction, the tip of the pick is now a little bit over exaggerating right now to visualize it, but the tip of the pick is now free. Like this again. Then the tip of the pick is again free. So it's a lot about not stucking between strings. And once you get this kind of a lot of things are a lot easier to do inside of your playing. And these are one of the methods and one of the philosophies that I've explained in the Then of Speed Picking in my online course. And a lot of stuff from my YouTube channel. So if you want to get a glimpse of that, just check out my YouTube channel. There I have a ton of videos about speed picking and sweeping and all this kind of fast, crazy shit.
So, and your course, is it on your website or is it on YouTube, or how to get your course?
It is. You can find it when you just Google the Then of Speed Picking. There's only one out. No, and Google me. There's also the Then of Sweep Picking released a few months ago, which is based a little bit more on etudes. They have currently 13 etudes out there. They're coming more every month. It's like an add-on coming more etudes. So I want to do as well when it comes to sweeping more kind of the musical kind of side. How you can include sweeping in your soloing, how you can outline arpeggios, how make interesting chord progressions, all that kind of stuff. But then of speed picking, you can find by Google it, or I guess the link is under every YouTube video of mine, so you can get it there. And then you can watch it on the platform where I released it. Yeah.
Cool. How do you deal with what is it? When you change strings, when you kind of skip string skipping. I think that's a big thing. I mean, as long as you play like on one string, you know, that's all on one string. I make my up and down strokes and I'm happy, and I just throw in the notes in the rhythm. That's easy. So, but it's getting complicated when you have something like maybe odd number of notes on one string.
That's a problem.
And then you fuck up.
Yeah, there you need pick slanting. That is the holy grail of how to avoid the problems there.
I avoid those licks.
Or that's
also great.
or just hammer on or something.
Yeah. Okay, but come
and-
to the truth. Give us the.
This is kind of for me. Troy Grady, Cracking the Cod was like a messiah for me, and it's like a religion.
Yeah.
And because when you have an uneven number of notes per string, you have to change this pick slant. So when you want to get something up to tempo and you want to change from one string to the next, I recommend to take licks which have an even number of notes.
Of course, yeah.
Like for example. Get this one over in a vertical kind of way, it's kind of easy because we have 6. So I recommend everybody to start with those kind of licks just to get the speed, developed.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest things that you can do then on guitar, which I was practicing in the last 6 months a lot, is musically speaking really, really easy because you only have to. These kind of things is musical speaking really easy. It's just a scale up. But guitar-wise, for our right hand, it's always an uneven number of notes per string. So I have to change upward, downward, upward, downward, upward, downward pick slanting.
Make an example in C major so everybody can follow.
Yeah. And now you just started, for example, every time with the downstroke on every string.
Yeah.
You didn't play for the alternate. And this is something,
I fake it,
a lot of people are cheating or faking that they're doing economy picking and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I want to do this with alternate picking.
Do it properly, show it.
And they're slow. Every time I change the string, I have a different start position. I start with a downstroke, then the next string with an upstroke, then again downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, because of the uneven number of notes per string. Down, up, down. Next string, up, down, up. Next string, down, up, down. And to avoid getting stuck between those strings, because this is the thing that happened a lot while playing this lick, you need to be free, and therefore you need pick slanting. Zack, zack, zack. Tip of the pick is free.
Yeah.
Tap, tap, tap. Tip of the pick is free, and so on.
Yeah.
And to get this movement. These kind of licks a lot.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. You could say just don't use it in your music or whatnot, but I don't like this kind of limitation.
That's great to have it. Yes.
Limitation is always bad.
Yeah.
So my workaround is I'm not sure what I fake. Maybe you know what I'm doing, but let me try to fake it my way. This is called. What is the English word? Kaltakquise.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
You're doing economy picking. You're sweeping through the strings. You're doing the Frank and Bali way.
Yeah.
You're
Whatever way. I have my way.
yeah. You start every time with a downstroke, and you don't have the extra movement. You have economy. I'm not that good.
Ingrid's doing.
I'm not that good in this as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are asking me, okay, why not do it this way?
Mm-hmm.
And there I say, first of all, the sound is kind of different.
Yeah.
If you want to have this Paul Gilbert precise percussive speed picking sound, you need
to go that way. Yeah. I totally get it.
And the other problem is sweeping is a movement which requires a lot of force in your right hand, and it's really hard to control that force in certain tempos. Often when people are doing it that way, and I know a lot of people are doing it that way, then they have great control over what they're doing when they're playing it slow, because then they're doing it alternate picking, and then when they're playing it really, really fast. But then there's a spot in between that where they have a lot of problems playing those kind of things.
I totally admit that point, because when I do I can tell there's a stroke, there's a note.
Yeah.
No? Okay. So, and if I try to go faster, I help myself with the idea of timing. It's kind of okay. There's this thing, and I squeeze it in there, and I try to make it even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and try to have my robot up-down stroke hopefully match the tempo and find a string in the right time so it's not messy. That's kind of the the cheating way.
Funny, when you played it slow, you played it like the gypsy technique. Just down, up, down, down, up, down.
But not with...
The thing is, I don't know what I'm doing, and the way when I have something that I need to practice that way, because I played with symphony orchestras, and sometimes there are lines like that.
Yes.
And then it's a challenge. So for me, I got ears. I know what the result is, but I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I just kind of loop the thing that I need and repeat it, and this is exactly the point. Some things fall into place easier when it's faster. Slow is, I would say, never a problem, because you can do, even if you just make downstrokes, you end up playing the notes. But there is the point where it gets getting too fast for a certain technique. And the way I kind of tried to get out of that box was making small patterns, like an element, and I copy these elements. But don't ask me if this is wrong or right.
No, there's no wrong and right. That's just your way. And if you want to change something, then it's always the time to change something. But if you are happy with it, and you certainly can make a living out of this kind of thing. So
nobody complained about it so far. But I avoided, the hardcore things, because I'm not a metal guy. And this is the point. When you play metal, you have to have a right hand that is killer.
Absolutely.
No good right hand, forget it. Play the blues, but don't play metal. But metal is about having the control and the right hand. So I totally respect that. And I always knew that. So it's like, question, Aldi Meola, what kind of technique is he using?
I have to admit that I'm not really that much familiar with Aldi Meola. I know what he's doing. I know he is influenced and this kind of stuff. I have to check out more. I know there are some Troy Grady's videos about him, but I don't know. I'm just not so familiar with him.
Understood. But
he's one of those guys who's swiping, actually.
Swiping. Interesting.
To get over the strings.
Too much
but that's not...
So he goes over the string, and then he's ready for the upstroke.
The next string.
Like Paul Gilbert. Not always, but sometimes he uses this technique also. That's why he sounds so aggressive. Also.
Yeah, but whatever.
Troy Grady said
this was the fastest guy when I grew up. And Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior is... You know that record?
Yeah, I know it. But I'm not familiar with what kind of technique he's doing. I was listening to it,
Yeah, so this was my most prog experience.
Yeah. But I have to say, for example...
Michelangelo de Bartolo.
Speed kills kind of thing that he's doing, it used to cover it a few years ago, can't play it right now. But that's one thing that I don't like in teaching guitar, with these kind of idolizing certain people, because I often get comments like, hey, but player XXX is doing it this way, but player XYX is doing it this way and this way. The thing is, it works maybe for these kind of players. Marty Friedman can play these kind of really weird, he's holding his pick like this, Marty Friedman, and it works for him and for the stuff that he's playing, but he would not be able to play Petrucci lines with these kind of techniques, and I always try to teach a method that works for most guitar players. I'm coming from my teaching philosophy There, I'm really against the blues way. I'm really against the do it your way and do it how it feels for you way. I'm coming more really from the classical kind of way, where you have an experience over hundreds of years how to perfectly play an instrument from the craftsmanship, and there are rules that said you have to hold a violin like this to play certain things. You have to hold your hands like this when you play piano, certain things. And nowadays we are getting more and more into this kind of thing on guitar, which I'm really happy, and I'm really happy to be part of this kind of movement. Because for the last 40 years guitar teaching was, I don't know how it's done, do it like your way, like do it like it fits for you. And there a lot of bad habits. First of all, a lot of bad habits can create. Of course, a lot of interesting kind of stuff can create as well, but I would say this only really works for 20% of all guitar players. 80% of the guitar players that are learning this way comes to plateau and then says, I don't know how to play it, I can't do it, it's not possible, it's not doable, so I stop playing guitar. And therefore we're nowadays searching for methods and ways how it's perfectly for
Sometimes it's cool to find other ways when experimenting with it, when it doesn't work, to find a different way to make it unique. It sounds different, totally agree. And you can play maybe some other things.
By the way, this is something where we're always fighting in our podcast, because we're always fighting a little bit.
I totally get the different...
But you get new ideas because you play different.
There's different approaches and there are different results. And there's different results for different people, for different players, for different listeners. So that in the end it's all good. It just offers more options. Just, when I learned today, you have your YouTube. You go on the YouTube. You can do half speed. You see. When I was a teenager, you couldn't see anything just because.
Listen.
Did we have a VHS tape in my family? No, and I had to learn by listening to vinyl. And the best thing, the most advanced technique thing was a dictaphone with half speed mode. So this was the scientific. I could play half speed, which was an octave down, and that could give you another insight. Today is the golden age of
the best times we live in.
We can watch this, we can hear it.
I have to say you have to be a little bit carefully with these times. I have a lot of students who are younger, and me myself, I mean, when I was 14, 15, YouTube started to do this kind of thing. I'm the generation which is exactly right between learning everything by ear and with VHS tapes like you did, and learning everything through YouTube. But sometimes I wish that I would take some time to listen to only one Yngwie record and trying to figure out every solo. Because through these kind of method, first of all, you're really, really training your ear and your sense of melody, and you're focused on one particular thing, and you can be that master on that one thing. And this is the problem what we have nowadays a lot. You have too many things. You have to be really careful on what you're learning and taking your time. And I have students who want to learn this lick and this lick and this technique and that technique, and then jazz improvisation, fusion, gypsy, whatnot, country, playing upside down, playing with a handstand, I don't know, playing naked, I don't know. So there is so much information, and it's really tough to be selective with this kind of information. There, I recommend to nearly everybody, try to get a good teacher who can show who can sort you the things out that you need right in the moment. And I often actually say to students, when some people approach me like, you should work on your vibrato and your bending first, because you are in the same situation like me 10 years ago, that you can play fast, but your vibrato is like this, And but this is a really good thing nowadays, that you can learn so much, but it's so hard to know what should I actually learn. And it was easier back in the day when you only have one vinyl record of your hero and you're listening to every solo.
Now I do the old fart speech, but maybe just imagine when in the days when you buy a vinyl record. So you had this one thing that you paid shits a lot of money for. So there was a very hard decision. Do I buy this one or this one? Because teenager, you don't have the money to buy 5 of these vinyl things, so you buy only one. So then you put this on, and then
it's like ritual.
Yeah, it's a ritual.
Yeah.
So, and then because there's only one thing, you listen to the whole thing. It's not like next. No, you listen to the whole thing and you listen to every song.
Yeah.
And then once you listen to the whole record one time through, you probably go back and say, oh, I like that track. And then when you like that solo again, then you put the needle back on that kind of thing and say, oh wow, that's so. The amount of reduction of information brings focus.
Yeah. Focus.
So in the end, it doesn't matter. Today, it is important to learn how to say no, so you can focus
on the one thing.
And I think that's times have different advantages. So for me, there's like 2 records I think that I could play back in the days of not note by note, but I put on and I played along the records from the first to the last track. There was one Gary Moore record,
nice.
and there was some Deep Purple stuff that I could do. And then there was there was coming more and more and more, and then I got distracted, which was again that problem. And I came to the point when Yngwie came out with the first Rising Force.
83, 84, something like that.
Yeah, something like this. So I think the first song and solo, I probably think I still learned that, and we even played it in the band. And then I took the decision of what do I really want, because I had this and this, and then I came to another phase where I said, with the next Yngwie album, I said, that's the race. I don't go. I don't join that race anymore. Not finding it shit, no, but just having a decision of saying, you know what, I'm into there's this and this, and this is too much race for me. I'd rather do this. And I started to create my own songs and stuff like that. Even by then, which was here. I can see it. Wait a minute, I show you the pic.
Don't play with your picks.
Don't fall off stairs.
Okay, that's I think we have a very different audience. I mean, we have older guys, we have younger guys, and for me, it's nice to hear the different angles. I mean, on the same subject, the electric guitar.
Yeah. And nowadays, sometimes you have a lot of kind of guides that can guide you through new music. Yeah. I remember when I started getting into jazz, Spotify came along. And Spotify was for me, back in the day with jazz, like, Spotify, boo, boo, boo. But for me, it was like, wow, I now have all Wes Montgomerys, all Kenny Burrells, all those kind of libraries and music together. But then I realized, fuck, I have all Wes Montgomerys, all Kenny Burrell. Where should I start? Which should I listen to now? So,
overload.
And then, helpfully for me, there was one book from a guitar player called Joachim Vogel, who's not really active anymore in the music scene. He did Masters of Jazz Guitar, which is kind of the equivalent of Masters of Rock Guitar from our good friend Peter Fischer. And he's doing the same kind of system that he started with every important jazz guitar player from early 20th centuries to up to Frank Cavalli, I think the last one that he's covering there. And this really helped me to focus only on the important stuff. Was really a good guide to get through all these kind of genres and eras of jazz guitar. And this is kind of important nowadays, I guess, to find something like this. Or in the best case, a teacher who has the experience and who can tell you, I listened to jazz for 40 years. The record that you need to listen is this, and this. Yeah. Learn that solo, learn this thing, learn this thing.
Until your ears bleed.
Because I based 40 years of experience around this.
Of course,
this is so important.
It's always good to have experts that made the experience themselves for you.
Yeah.
That's why you have a teacher.
This is our profession. This is why I'm focusing so much on practicing, so I can help other people with their technique.
Yeah.
Young guys and old guys, you know.
Yeah, and I just do the same thing with my amplifiers. I bought all that crap, and now I have this.
It's a really good excuse for your wife. I have to buy it to help other people.
Even for my tax accountant, I have a business card. I'm a sound designer. So, I write this off taxes. If you made some money. Make some money first to write it off. That's the next lesson you have to learn. Otherwise... okay, now maybe just open up a little gear thing. We see Christoph Kemper, the Kemper Profiler M.
Christoph is here.
Christoph is in the house. I have a bunch of photos with Christoph, if you want to see.
Oh, do you have contact? I've tried to get contact with him for a podcast. We always wanted to invite him, but it's not so easy to get through to him. This kind of.
Yeah, I mean he's not that
really busy.
First he's busy. He's got a family, and how to describe him? He's he's doing his thing. And why should he talk about it that much? I totally get it. The thing about Christoph is coming up with such an idea and such a product. 12 years ago now?
Yeah, I think 12 years ago.
Yes.
2010.
It was groundbreaking. Yeah. So, and
is he even a guitar? I know that he's done the virus before that, the keyboard thing. But do he play guitar? Is he also a guitar? No,
he's a keyboard player.
He's an engineer, I think. Then,
Well, he's an engineer. He's a brilliant engineer, and he's a keyboard player. I actually. Played with him in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
Long story, I told this before, but anyway, we've been at a NAMM show in Nashville, Summer NAMM, and by accident I made some American country lady famous. Now produced by Joe Bonamassa, who didn't do the work. It was Josh Smith, the guy. But being at Josh Smith, I heard then. There's a new lady from Nashville called Paula Jo Taylor. This was the lady that checked out my amp that I put the iPhone video from. Anyway, to cut the story short, me and Christoph, we know each other quite well, and this lady invited me to join in on a jam in Nashville on the boulevard where they all played. For tourists. So me being a tourist, joining in an all-American band with a country lady, and Christoph heard that, and Tom Wendt, who is the press and marketing guy for Kemper, is a good friend of mine. We go back 20 years, even before Kemper existed, but it doesn't matter. So, and I said, hey Tom, can you do some pictures? And then Christoph heard what's going on here, and I said, you can all come. And then Christoph took the cabinet, and we all walked down Broadway, and we ended up there. And then we were sitting there, and then the lady announced me and said, "Who's your friend there?" I said, "This is Christoph Kemper." She didn't know who Kemper was. He plays the piano. Oh, come on, Christoph! So we ended up playing country, country and western. But so you are a Kemper user.
Yes.
And for how many years?
When I got this one in 2016. So 7 years nearly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before that was the Line 6 pot.
I was not only the Line 6 pot, but also the Veta 2, which was the big amp from them. And I was grown up with the Line 6, and
You started modeling. You started with modeling amps.
Yes, I started with modeling amps.
And
I started with a Fender Twin who broke down really, really quickly. He was from my father, and he was way too heavy.
Way too fast.
Way too heavy, this 40 kilo kind of thing. And then I asked my mother to buy me a pot, and then I got a pot,
Oh, and your father plays the guitar as well?
He is now dead for several years now, but he used to play it, yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah. What style was he playing?
I don't know. Kind of a weird. The only thing that he knew was some chords, and what he always wanted to kind of show off to me when I started was this. Oh, look what I can. Flash release. I guess he always wanted to play some. He used to play some basic blues, some basic stuff, but he was more kind of a sax player. But the first guitar that I played guitar where I played it on was a Stratocaster, a '91 Stratocaster.
Nice.
Okay, good. So you had a very short experience of a Fender Twin.
Yes.
Kind of the foundation of the tube amps.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, if you look back, Fender amp is kind of the basic stuff, like, and the Twin is as clean as it can be. It was designed to be loud and headroom that comes with weight. If we go for tubes, means like more tubes, bigger transformers, more speakers, more weight. So this was not your kind of thing.
No.
Okay. Well, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So, and then line 6 with the Veta 2. Veta.
Yeah. I got this one on my 80th
one was
birthday.
actually the AX.
Okay.
I also had this one.
We have to ask Horst Keller about this.
I know my friend Horst Keller. Greetings to Horst. I think we all been at Horst.
We all been.
Nice guy.
The Veta 2, I played this for a long time.
Yeah. I had a Veta 2 experience which was funny. But anyway, the package of these amps is you have different amp types, you have effects, you have programs. So this is something totally natural for you.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah, nearly. There's a reason why I choose the Kemper and not, for example, an XFX or maybe a Helix. Because I want in my sound simplicity as much as possible. I'm not a tweaker at all. So because I'm not that experienced and I don't have that ears for that. I'm a tweaker when it comes to this and to playing to this. So I want something where I have a profile on it. This profile, it's from our good friend Guido Bunkenstock. And I use this profile since 2016 and I never changed the profile. It's based on a Friedman amp. I really like this kind of thing, but I'm not the person who are experimenting with a lot of things. So I want that sound that works. When I click on the delay, I want a delay on it and don't want to tweak that much. And on an XFX, the
parameters are too much.
The digital processing when you're tweaking is much better than on Kemper. On Kemper, you should have the profile and then
leave it there.
Leave it there. Don't change it.
Yeah.
You know. And it was just for me. And I really can remember when I was in Music Messe 2016. Yes, I met Martin Miller and Nico Schliemann. And we hang around a little bit, and those two guys, they're nerding the shit out of XFX. Like, I did this amp here and that and what, and I was sitting there like, but I just want to play guitar. I think I will buy a Kemper. And this is the reason why I got a Kemper.
I think the Kemper success is based on two facts. One is it's got a super direct tone, which we are using now. We plug in the guitar and then we go whatever line out into the board. Easy, consistent, so programmable, switch on, works same.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing. And the other thing is the profiles, which are the personalized element.
Yes.
Because all the rest is kind of, is it good or I think it's an emotional thing. You know, you can always tell, oh, it's a Friedman, that helps because it's a good name.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the sound is not good, but you know, it's always I buy a Mercedes because they used to have good cars or whatever. You know, so there's one, and you can make something personal by selecting your favorite profile.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a big success contribution for the whole.
That, to be honest, nowadays I'm actually not using this Kemper that much often anymore. I use it in certain live situations, but I switched a little bit to two different things. One thing is when I'm on my recording PC, I use plugins. Plugins is the easiest way.
I know,
for
sure.
me.
Yeah.
And on the other thing is that I start to use this thing
amp1.
here, the amp1, since 1 year.
And Iridium, no?
Yeah, the Iridium. Yeah, and this, for example, we made a podcast episode about this, which was really funny because it was my unboxing as a podcast form. And it was like, funny. Wow, you can do like this, and you can do like this. And this helped me to get a little bit more into this world of tweaking, because I wanted to get a little bit more into because this is another, how do you call it, Bildungslücke, like there's knowledge missing inside of it. What you may missing in what you are doing here, I often have the lack of knowledge in what is happening on there, and I want to fill out this kind of hole
and get more feeling of what is in there for you,
and
on top of what you already know.
And what parameters can change certain things in my tone. And therefore I have to say the Iridium and the Blug, the amp1 is really helping to get into these kind of things. Because this is simple, this is easy, it's not too many knobs, it's only one thing, it's really light, so for that it's really awesome, it's really perfect.
What is how would you describe? Does it feel different, or how do you react with this or with this? Is there any difference, or is it the same for you?
I have to say there is a difference from the feeling. I can't really name it right now. What the different? I think it has actually really something to do maybe with latency, with straight direct kind of sound coming out of the box, with the feeling that comes out of the box. It's kind of this mysterium kind of thing where a lot of people are saying, it's about the feeling that comes and from the amp and whatnot. You can name it maybe, but I don't have the knowledge to really name what the difference between those kind of feelings are. And the thing is, I'm not so afraid to change something there than to change something here, because I know here
you could fuck it up.
You could fuck it up. I mean, okay, you can go back and that's no problem. But here it's a lot easier to tweak around and to see the result that is happening. And this is a kind of interesting feeling that I got there. And there was something else what I wanted to tell, but I forgot.
That doesn't matter. The thing about latency.
Yes.
Do you know how you could test latency? I mean, you can do it in your DAW, but you can also do it like if you put the volume on the guitar like on the lowest.
And then maybe then you can see it.
Try to go as low as possible. Yeah. So, and when you hit louder here. There's a little bit. The thing is, you can get used to that.
That's the thing that I wanted to tell. Because of my non-experience with tube amps, by growing up with a pot, because he was always in the podcast telling me about this thing called latency, and I was, what are you talking about? I don't hear any latency, because I don't knew the different kind of world where you have the straight tone. Yes, I get used to this.
And that's a thing that might even disturb you,
sure,
because you are used. It's probably too fast or too much in your face. I mean, that's the other thing we talked about when playing these amps, old school Jimi Hendrix, at the high volume. I mean, I'm happy that nobody is allowed to do that anymore. But again,
is that so?
I mean, it's. I've been there with famous players who do it fantastically and write 2 pages why they do it. The thing is, that's another experience. Unfortunately, we are here in the living area, but that's something we have to do, or I think you should experience. It's just like the race, how fast you can play, and things like that. It's another experience of raw energy. And that's try to play at that kind of volume, and then try to find out what makes sense. Whatever that message gives to you is a new insight, because you've never been there. It's kind of like analog versus digital, or modular, or no latency versus latency, or blah blah blah. You know, all that different angles to a thing can be can give you some message, like we thought in the beginning. It's like, wow, what is this? And you pick what you like, and you go for whatever is best for you, and that makes you the better player in the end.
Yeah, that's true.
So
and
your
experience,
the confrontation of a 100-watt Marshall stack, I tell you, I wish we could do it right now. I know that Lucas, we one day we will go to make a cabinet video in a studio, and maybe I will in a nearby a future episode in next month, next 4 weeks probably, and that reminds me, I will bring one of those and do the real thing, like.
Awesome.
Jesus.
So we put a room mic and we can see. And maybe I have a guest that has no experience with it. It's like, okay, let's see how he shreds. You know the videos when they really take the piss out of something. When, whatever Satriani shreds and you see.
Yeah.
Stuff, it might be way better.
That
for
could
the
be.
feel thing,
Yeah,
I mean.
that could be.
Yeah.
That could be. That is an interesting thing because I'm used to this. Maybe this can disturb me, or it can make me better. Yeah,
sure.
There's somebody asking about your equipment.
My equipment. Oh yes, I'm using the M1 Mercury most of the time, and also I'm using a Rodenberg BL Deluxe. This is a great pedal by my friend Uli Rodenberg with fantastic pedals, and this is actually an amp in a box.
Yeah, let's show it. Start with
maybe.
Bypass first.
Yeah, all right. So right now we are on the bypass. So it's just like this is the amp1 in the vintage mode. Actually gain, and then we engage it. We put everything maybe at. So now maybe someone can switch it on and off. That's easier. Yeah. The thing I love about this pedal is that you can. Doesn't matter. It's very nice. It's also because of the M1, because it does it really well.
But it's a great pedal.
It's a great pedal. And also if you put some high. Sounds great.
That's awesome, yeah.
The noise is because of the Strat, because Uli Rodenberg is always looking for the lowest noise he can get. And this is because it's massive gain and single coil, so.
Yeah.
But it's a killer pedal, and I'm using it in my setup with the clean channel actually, or with the vintage, but also in the low gain mode like we do now.
Yeah.
And sounds fantastic. I'm also using, of course, the vintage mode alone on the M1 Mercury, because I'm having a MIDI switcher and I have these options.
Yeah.
I can use the low gain mode from vintage, and I can use the classic mode, and I can use the clean tones.
Didn't you have your own pedal board with you last time? I don't.
No. I never had my
because you
pedal board.
came.
Because
with,
always with train, and that's.
Yeah.
I have actually a really huge pedal board with
we have
lots of stuff.
One day, guys, we have to make a whatever rig rundown on your pedal board.
Sure.
Next time I come to your place,
that's a great thing.
I take my professional camera. And I do.
And I'm using 2 nano cats.
Okay.
I like that combination a lot. It's really cool. And when you go to a small club, you just take one.
Yeah.
And it's loud enough.
Yeah. And if you want more, you have to.
Yeah.
Rig rundown from my pedal board would take like 0 seconds because I don't have one. I don't own any pedals.
Do you play in ears, or do you have a monitor, or how you listen to yourself?
In Megalife, which is a band where I play mostly live, we are using in-ears. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know why, but when I am in more kind of bigger situations with bigger bands that I used to be as a side fill guitar player, there was some in-ear sounds which are really, really awesome. I don't know why in Megalife we don't have that kind of awesome sound. I would guess that most people who are listening to my in-ear sound would be like, oh, what the fuck is this? Because I have myself extremely loud.
Yeah.
I just want to hear myself. Hearing the band, hell no. Maybe just the drums, but only me. and it's kind of really shrill and really kind of light, and
but it gives you the feel, so you
and the thing is on the other hand is I'm really easy when it comes to sound. I'm nobody who is really like complaining a lot about certain sound situation, because as my times as being a professional live guitar player in top 40 bands and whatnot, you get used to have a shit sound on stage with the monitoring when you don't have time to make a correct monitor sound. And then you have two ways to go. One way is to complain all the time and to have a bad day and don't play good because you are obsessed with everything, or you just deal with it and try to have fun, you know?
Yeah.
I get your point. On the other hand, I would like to be your sound teacher and say, why not go on stage, have a great sound, and have fun with your sound? You know, I mean, therefore, I use the Fat Cap, which is also 112, which is always loud enough for what I'm doing. I only have one gig a year where I think I have probably a second cabinet, but I don't bring it with me, so doesn't matter. That works for me. And for me, it's important to feel good because I've been on in-ears myself as well. And this is very long time ago, but when I had the in-ears, I was also focusing on the guitar and the drums, and I didn't hear much of the rest of the band because back in those days it was even mono, and anything more was like too much. Yeah. And this is when you have no in-ears, then there's stereo, and you can locate things, and your brain can kind of filter what you want to hear just by, you know how you can fool yourself just by listening. Yeah. You look at a Fender amp, you play a Marshall, and you play Fender licks because your eyes see Fender logo. It's totally the thing, and it's totally not overdriven, but you think you are, you know, or the other way around, you know, but. The in-ear technology got so much better these days.
I think it also depends as well on what kind of music you are playing. Sure, when you are on stage, like you do always with the on the Guitar Summit with all this kind of stuff, where you're jamming more together, then I think it's really important to hear everybody as good as possible. But when you are in a big metal production, for example,
it is.
We are not playing on click in Megadeth, which I would love to play with a click because then I could program this thing that he's doing all the sound switches and I don't have to do it. But we want to keep this 80s thrash kind of feeling, so we say, okay, we want to keep the tempo changes and everything. But I really like the idea, and everybody is, when I'm telling them, like, oh, that's not rock and roll anymore, but I love the idea of having a click in your ear and having a voice in your ear that says, now comes the verse, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Really? I love it. Especially for extreme hard progressive music or extreme complex music, because
it makes sense.
It makes your life easier.
Not in a blues band anymore.
No.
And when you are in a big production,
now comes your second verse.
But when
I woke up this morning, and the third thing is when I woke up.
When you're in a big production with pyro, for example, and all the light shows, then you really need these kind of helps, and that makes your life really, really easy.
It would be good when you have a jam session.
Now
you jam. Now you shut the fuck up.
Dude, I see videos from church people in America where they have this kind of big church tradition. And they are talking to each other via in-ear, and they are directing themselves through these kind of sessions. Like, now you're playing the solo, and you are doing this, you're doing that, through in-ears. And I really love this kind of idea and this kind of thing what they do. There's really cool videos to listen to those in-ear recordings.
Yeah, cool. Hey guys, I think we are running out of time. We should play one last bit, or is there a super important question that we have to answer right now? My problem with building speed is seeing how many bad habits I've made over the years. It's hard to learn proper technique now.
Don't give up. It's never too late to work on your playing. It's only a matter of how much time you are giving it.
And I think one thing you said is important. Practicing is fun for you.
Yes, it should be fun.
So,
no torture.
Yeah, no torture. I mean, you have to get an attitude towards what you are doing. That the energy. I'm an energy kind of guy. That was Jeff Waters always said. This energy kind of guy. Thomas has always energy, and you are kind of an energy kind of guy. But for me, it's important that when you do something that you don't feel like, oh.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. So you won't
This
progress.
makes you stop to play the guitar.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
So try to find the fun in whatever you do, even when practicing.
Yes.
So then, you know, if it's too hard for you, go slow down. Make it a success for you. Success is always positive energy.
And don't make set your goals not too high, because that can frustrate sometimes. That you're saying, I know the same with sports, for example, like saying I will go every day to the gym for 1 hour. No, I'm definitely not doing this, but then I'm desperate and I'm mad at myself. So don't say something like, I want to practice picking every day for 1 hour, even if you actually know that you're not able to do this with family and a daily life going on and all this kind of stuff. So make it easy. Love the process. Take your time. Be patient. It can cost years, but this doesn't matter because you love
it's your
passion. You love doing it. I'm doing this shit for over 10 years now, and I'm still finding a lot of things where I could improve, and I loved it. I love things where I'm seeing, oh, there I do something wrong. Now I have now something new to practice. I love this.
And then a few months later, you see the progress. And that's great.
Fabian, let me ask, what Strat model are you playing?
Oh, basically,
I saw a Switch. What's Switch?
It's a little Switch. It's actually it's a treble bleed on off, because sometimes I love a treble bleed, sometimes I hate it. With certain pedals like fuzz. A treble bleed can be pain in the ass. Yes. And sometimes it's nice because it's also reduces the hum a little bit more.
Is it a 3 position?
No, it's just an on switch. So just on
feels a little bit
rough.
It
feels a little bit rough.
I hope it doesn't
die. My engineering stuff. I'm not the best at it. And
what value do you use? Do you know?
Value?
The nerd questions.
220.
220.
The classic 220.
The standard one. I used to experiment with also capacitor stuff, and it doesn't work for me. It sounds very, very thin. So on the other hand, this is just an aftermarket body I bought on eBay for 80 euros.
With that color on it?
With that color on it, yes. And the neck is...
What color is that called? Underwear.
Pink.
Underwear. Erotic pink.
Pink. Erotic pink, yes. The neck is an original 70s one. Just just from the guitar builder in the shop I work at.
It's a little bit thinner than yours.
It's a really thin neck.
I love the necks.
You should play it. It's a lot of fun. It's not an original. It's just actually a part caster. But part casters for me actually are always nice.
In my last episode, I was talking part casters a lot because I put together some leftovers and it became really good guitars. It's like really good guitars. Like, okay, good that I didn't plan the whole thing, you know?
Yes.
So there's nothing wrong about
it. Always it depends. Sometimes if you choose the woods and put them together, it can be shit. And sometimes it can be great.
Sometimes you change the neck, and not you change the
I had the
body,
maple
right?
one. I had the maple one on this, but actually.
That's also really cool that you easily could change the neck.
That's a great thing. You know that on Strat, it's so much fun also.
It's a nice project for a weekend. You know, it's like. I dream of this and then you have a problem, and then the soldering iron, and then I should have this, and then we make a phone call and do this. Or you know,
nodding with our friends.
Always something. So that's cool. Somebody said here, Jedak. Oh, I don't know. My biggest problem is setting goals are too high. That's a human thing, because we all want to be the best, but there is no best. That's a good
starting point.
So there is no best. There will be always somebody faster. And if not today, if you're the fastest guitar player on the planet, I promise you, in a year, some whatever guy from north behind the Greenland who has no time for nothing, but he will shred you to death. So don't start that mental set
this is actually something which I had
enjoy.
a lot of trouble with in the last year, because especially through social media. I mean, we know all when we were 17, 16 years old in our village, we just were the best guitar players, you know?
Yeah.
And then the world of internet opens up for us, and then we see...
It's so small.
So I have to really learn to be just the best myself and to accept as well myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's the thing where I can be the best in being Justin Hombach. I don't want to be another. There are so many great young guitar players out there who are 10 years younger than me. A guy called Baxty from Chile, or Simon Eichinger from Switzerland, or Austria. Sorry. Those guys are crazy, but there are no Justin Hombach.
Yeah.
There's only one Justin Hombach.
That's always, you know, that's. I think in the end, that's the trick about a personality, and all the stuff that you do add up to your personality, and the more you be honest to yourself, taking right decisions of I do that and I don't do that, and I try this and I try that and I do that and I don't do that, and this will make you a personality. For me, a good example is like Picasso. He makes art with one line. Boom. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Okay, but his personality is in there.
Yeah.
And you know, other people that make million lines and that their personality is in that, it's also great.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of minimalism, maximalism.
Yeah.
Anything works.
And you always have to face the fact, especially want to be a professional about this and want to make money with this as well, that when you're selling yourself or the stuff that you do, there are people who are going to like you and there are people who don't like what you're doing. And you have to accept it. And this is the same when you're selling amps, that there are people who are saying, oh, this amp is better, and I like it. That's totally fine. This is the same with my kind of way of teaching and my kind of
you
stuff.
offer something. Yeah, and the customer or the other person decides if they like it. You know, I do my amps for people as an offer. If you don't like them, hey, buy a Fender. I'm a happy guy when I see somebody and says, hey, I'm happy to tell them, you should stay with that Fender Twin, not you. But you know, but sometimes it really is magic. It's some people do things. There is nothing. They get insecure and think they should change something. It's like, hey guys, no, it's good. Don't.
And some people,
this amp is not for you.
Yeah, and some people just listen with their eyes. That's the
Yeah,
problem. They see there's a Marshall logo, there's a Fender logo. It can't be.
I'm more happier with customers or people around me, not really customers, who are true to themselves. Instead of annoying me all the time with the problems they have with my product, then I would say, then check out this technique, or go do this, go do that, or go use this amp. But we are both more happier when you are this way, instead of forcing myself to using an amp guitar, even if I'm not me, but speaking eventually. That I'm not happy with it, so you say stay with the Fender.
And so you know, don't take too much pressure on this thing, but still have that energy. You know, that's the thing. Have something that drives you somewhere
to explore.
Explore. It's good. I was on a vacation 3 weeks ago, and it was good. I had to fly there, and I did something else, and it was refreshing, changing, recharging the batteries and getting fresh ideas. Do something, or stay at home and just have the zen.
The zen or speed picking.
Get up at 4 in the morning. That's also good.
3:30 in the morning.
Pick and finger play, very nice. Okay. There's
great, Fabian, great in play. That's one thing that I just want to say to the comment that said it's sad that there's a generation to grow up with only digital stuff. I would say I would see this that negative, because everything has its cons and his pros. And I think there's also a lot of pros with the digital kind of stuff, and especially with kids getting into it and getting because it's so easy to explore things there and to tweak around with I don't know plugin or whatnot, and then they get excited with it, and then when they have the money, they can go to the analog stuff and buy all the pedals,
But there's always good on every style, music, technology, and it's so easy to say, früher war alles besser. Back then I said everything was better. That's bullshit. Experience what was happening back then, and what's good about it for you.
Yeah.
And experience new stuff and find out what's good with that new stuff for you.
Especially in those days, there's so many great stuff outside.
Yeah. It's, I mean, in a few years we will have a problem to get a hand on certain things like, you know, like vintage gear or, you know, like cars. They are rusty and they probably die. And 30 years ago, you know, just imagine that one day there will be all electrical cars. Just because, you know, times are changing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, and then when you have this piece of mechanics and you look at this old smelly engine,
and we guitar players are really weird about this. I once told an old woman who used to be a guitar teacher of me that we have tubes in our amps, and she was like, "You are still using tube? That kind of weird thing that we have in radios back in the 50s? You're still..." And I was thinking like, yeah, that's such an old technology, but somehow we guitar players love this.
This is how it is. Come on, let's do one last one. I have no clue what is on the list. Let me double click the list. And that's already good. And what's coming?
is important to do this while playing legato.
Hey, thanks for joining in.
Yes.
This was a great shredding episode, and see you all guys next week. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having us there.
Cheers.
Cheers.